Top 10 Worst Pandemics in World History. Number 10. COVID-19. The World Health Organization announced the crisis of coronavirus as a pandemic on March 11. The most recently discovered coronavirus caused this ongoing infectious global pandemic, COVID-19. So far, around 1,943,984 people died from this outbreak as of January 11, 2021. WHO reported 90,731,722 cases in more than 188 countries and territories. The researchers unknown about the virus until it started in Wuhan, China, in December 2019. Number 9. Russian flu. The 1889–1890 flu pandemic, also known as the Asiatic flu, or Russian flu, was a pandemic that killed about 1 million people worldwide, out of a population of about 1.5 billion. It was the last great pandemic of the 19th century, and is among the deadliest pandemics in history. Number 8. Third cholera pandemic. The 1846–1860 cholera pandemic, one of the worst 7 global cholera outbreaks in history, originated in India and spread through other countries such as Asia, North America, Europe, and Africa. In 1854, cholera took the lives of over 23,000 people in Great Britain. Approximately 10,000 of those deaths were from London. A bacterium, called Vibrio cholera, caused this infectious disease. Additionally, the ingestion of contaminated water or food takes 12 hours to 5 days to develop symptoms. Number 7. Smallpox. Smallpox is one of the other worst pandemics in history. Humans can only spread the disease that was endemic to Asia, Europe, and Arabia. Smallpox is estimated to have killed up to 300 million people in the 20th century and around 500 million people in the last 100 years of its existence, as well as 6 monarchs. As recently as 1967, 15 million cases occurred a year. Number 6. HIV/AIDS. AIDS is also one of the most devastating pandemics in human history. Researchers discovered the human immunodeficiency virus, HIV, and acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, AIDS, in the early 1980s. This virus killed an estimated 35 million people. We are still battling with HIV/AIDS that originated from a chimpanzee virus from Central and West Africa. It was the first to act as a mysterious illness that primarily infecting gay men in the United States urban regions. Number 5. Asian flu. In the 20th century, another pandemic was the Asian flu, also called the 1957–1958 influenza pandemic, an outbreak of influenza A of the H2N2 subtype. It was one of the most popular influenza pandemics in history. The origin of Asian flu was in China in early 1956 and lasted until 1958. The outbreak was responsible for an estimated 1.1 million deaths worldwide, with 116,000 deaths occurring in the United States. It traveled from Guizhou to Singapore, Hong Kong, and the United States in its 2-year spree. Number 4. Spanish flu. It is one of the worst influenza pandemics in history has ever witnessed. While approximately 500 million people infected with Spanish flu pushed the numerous indigenous communities to the brink of extinction. This disease's death toll is put anywhere from 17 million to 50 million, as per the estimates. Almost 25 million of those deaths occurred in the outbreak's first 25 weeks. It killed around 700,000 Americans. Additionally, it provided valuable lessons on social distancing. Number 3. Plague of Justinian. The disease got its name from the ruler of the Byzantine Empire, Justinian, at the time. There is a double meaning, as the crisis handling of Justinian was almost its infection form. In the year 541 CE, the plague of Justinian killed up to a quarter of the Byzantine Empire and Mediterranean port cities. It left its mark on the world at a point, killing as many as 5,000 people every day. Black rats on the grain boats and carts of Egypt brought a pestilence to the Eastern Roman Empire. Number 2. Antonine Plague. When we talk about the plague, we are talking about this Antonine Plague usually. It is one of the oldest and deadliest pandemics in history that occurred in 165 to 180 AD. The outbreak was far dangerous than the newly arrived COVID-19, but the province survived from it. The Romans brought this plague back home with them after a war against Parthia. They spread this disease unknowingly, but it took over 5 million people and destroyed the Roman army. Number 1. Black Death. The Black Death was the deadliest pandemic recorded in human history. The Black Death pandemic resulted in the deaths of up to 75 to 200 million people in Eurasia and North Africa, peaking in Europe from 1347 to 1351. Plague. The disease was caused by the bacterium Yersinia pestis.